This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about the match itself. The day of the show, it's April 29th, 2001, the Allstate Arena in Chicago. You know Chicago, it's a sellout, 15,592 fans. The gate is still super strong, $831,510, nearly another $144,000 in merchandise. It's billed as the 18th sellout in a row in Chicago. I think we've talked about this before, but in my opinion, Chicago is probably the premier town for wrestling in America. Would you agree with that?
Without a doubt. I think Chicago might have surpassed New York, and that's hard for me to say because New York is our home. That's where WWE started, and that's, where they got their name from. But Chicago was just, every time we went there, it was sold out. Fans were so enthusiastic. It was a no-brainer to book at least 4 or 5 shows a year there because we knew we'd sell out every time.
I also want to point out this show is perhaps the first sign that things are changing. The prior year, this show did 675,000 buys. This show here does 370,000. So you're down 300,000 buys year over year. And let's remember, this is 1 month after the largest non-boxing pay-per-view ever, WrestleMania 17. It did over 1 million. So while the gate is strong, it does feel like the interest has cooled off. In hindsight, do you think this is just the nature of the business? You sort of mentioned earlier that the business is cyclical, or how much of this could be contributed to Steve Austin turning heel and the fans not being ready for that?
Well, it might have contributed to it. I mean, Austin should have never turned heel. I thought he should have been baby because he was not stale as a baby face. He was still red hot. But, the company wanted to make some moves and they wanted to do something different. But, business wasn't so bad. I mean, we might have, the pay-per-view buys might have been, 60% of it was the year before. But we were still doing good numbers. They were very respectful numbers. 375,000 pay-per-view buys is still pretty good. The paydays are going to still be pretty strong. And we were selling out arenas still. So business was still good. It just wasn't as good as it was the year prior.
There's a Gallup poll that comes out on April 20th that shows pro wrestling as the least popular among 11 other sports that were tested. And Meltzer would comment that could not have come at a worse time for the industry. And of course, this is a time when the XFL is about to be on its ass. WCW's out, ECW's out. So a lot of people do have questions about what the future of WWE is and professional wrestling as a whole is. But they lumped it in with everything: pro football, baseball, college football, figure skating, college basketball, pro basketball, auto racing, ice hockey, tennis, golf. But it feels as if wrestling, based on this poll from Gallup, was starting to fall off a little bit. Were you noticing? Cause it's really weird. And I guess it's not like it's, you just flip a switch, but it's weird to have that conversation when just a moment ago we said, well, this is the biggest non-boxing pay-per-view in history for WrestleMania. Were you getting any indication that, okay, we've peaked and we're headed down? Or was that not even apparent yet?
I mean, we knew the business would eventually go down. We were expecting it. You could see it slowly go down. The pay-per-view buys. Yeah. We wouldn't be selling out every arena every night. So business did start to decline quite a bit, but it was still good. Business was never bad when I was there, and I was there till 2006. And, we still got great payoffs, not as good as during the Attitude Era, but we were still getting pretty good payoffs.
What there is no debate about is that WrestleMania 17 did very well. The preliminary buy rate comes in at 900,000 buys. Ultimately, it winds up being more than 1 million, which makes it the largest non-boxing pay-per-view in history. Between the gate and the merch sales and the pay-per-view, it's $40.6 million. The biggest show in history. So, when you sort of reconcile that in your head, Kurt, on the one hand, his football business is really taking it in the pants, but now his wrestling business, it's never better. It's sort of the best of times, the worst of times, right?
Oh, it was awesome. The business was great. Money was coming in for everybody. Everybody was happy. It was just an exciting time in the business. And, we were just riding a wave as long as we could ride it because, the business goes in cycles. It gets hot, then it cools off, then it gets hot, it cools off. So we were riding that train all the way till the end until it wasn't there anymore. And, business never really bottomed out. I mean, it got to a concern where we weren't doing as well, but I think that business is still strong.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.